Hi, and welcome back to another quick video on how to use Keysight Threat Simulator to measure and optimize your security operations. Today we're going to be looking at a hot topic of data exfiltration and running it against this agent in our branch office. So what we're going to do, like you've seen in other videos, is we're going to navigate to our scenarios and we're going to create a scenario. And this time our assessment will be in the instrumentation field as well as data exfiltration. And one thing you will notice, there's a variety of different things you can do around data exfiltration, including via DNS tunneling, Post, Dropbox, etc. We're going to choose this one just so that you can see what's happening, as well as you'll see us go to our Palo Alto firewall and make necessary changes to actually remediate what will happen during this assessment. One thing to be sure of is check out your assessment details if you want to learn more about what we're actually doing around the exfiltration of an Excel spreadsheet, which is containing PII. You'll see the ladder diagram over there. You also can always go into the advanced settings, make sure it's set to HTTPS or HTTP, depending on what you're doing, of course, and you're going to save that off. We'll select our agent or group, and then I'll name this something fairly descriptive so that we know that it's there in our library of scenarios, as well as I said before, we're going to actually show the remediation steps that we take on the back end with our firewall and rerun these assessments to see what happens. So spoiler alert, the first time through, we're actually going to see some failures, and that's okay as long as it tells us what we need to do to change it. So we've added our scenario and now we're running it. And as you've seen in various videos, as well as probably in your own assessment simulations that you've been doing, we'll be taken to the live look here. And this will slowly kind of build as it's running the different audits across. And ultimately what you'll begin to see is, we already see 2 audits and 2 have failed. And we're going to get to the point where 7 audits will fail out of 7. So we're going to get a 0% protection score and a 0% detection score. But in the details, we're going to be able to kind of figure out, what's going on from that perspective. So let's click through to our details. And as you see here, all of our failed tests are listed, as well as, what kind of happened and any sort of information that might pertain to this overall. So what I want to do here is actually jump over to, again, my Palo Alto firewall, and I want to do a couple of things. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to check the monitor and make sure that data filtering, the settings there, just to confirm that no patterns have been detected. So in the monitor, no patterns have been detected. Not surprising, right? And now we're going to actually check the configuration overall in a variety of places. So the first one we're going to do is verify that the outbound policy has data exfiltration with PII enabled. All right, so it looks okay overall. So we'll press OK there. But the second configuration I'm going to look at is the SSL decryption policy. So what you see here in the grayed out area is the fact that this policy that decrypts traffic was turned off, and we're going to correct that problem by re-enabling it. And the next thing that we're going to do is hit on the Objects tab here, and we are going to look for data patterns to confirm that a proper PII pattern was set, right? So, as you'll see, we have a good PII pattern here that's using Palo Alto's predefined patterns for multiple PII, including social security numbers, which was part of our assessment overall. And finally, we're going to confirm the data filtering profile that was used in the policy that we checked in step 1, right, is using the data pattern that we just talked about in step 3. And everything actually does look okay. So we're going to click OK. So now our PAN configuration is set to alert, right? And so it would send an event to the SIM. and block data exfiltration at the first PII pattern that's identified, right? And in our scenario, just so you know what we're running here, we're sending over 1,000 of them. So let's jump back over to Keysight Threat Simulator and let's start rerunning those assessments. Now remember, we have it right here in our scenario library. We're going to navigate over and we're just going to hit run this scenario. And again, the same thing is going to happen. But in this case, what I want to do is while we're running this, I want to jump over to the Palo Alto monitor to see what's happening from their point of view. And what you'll see in the monitor is a lot of new and interesting information. You're going to see a lot of different file formats with PII being captured. And so we're actually seeing a lot of the different types of the actual traffic and actual data exfiltration that we've simulated overall. And, in good news, we're now almost at the 7 audits. And there it is, 7 audits run and 7 passed via, a few kind of simple remediation steps that we did. And we'll also see that our prevention score went from, 0 to 100, and there's our detection score in the sim, again, going from 0 to 100. So one additional thing that you might be interested in is if we look at the details again of this audit overall, you can actually navigate to the sim tab and you actually see here a lot more details of what happened during these audits. So, you'll see the first audit and confirming that Threat Simulator has successfully identified and correlated the associated events generated by the firewall and confirmed the match was based on the PII data pattern, right? That signature ID 6001, and the pan action was block. The traffic was inspected, had decrypted flag enabled, and of course that means that the Palo Alto decrypted the SSL connection and inspected the data transmission over SSL. So with our data exfiltration assessment run, our fixes have been applied. We now have confidence that our Palo Alto Networks firewall is doing exactly what we needed it to do and that we configured it properly. We can go about our jobs with a little bit more confidence. Thank you for joining us for this latest video and stay tuned for more.